From newstalkzb.co.nz.
It's Mike Hosking.
Let's talk about tax first of all. The threshold of $5,000 doesn't make sense when so many of your other economic policies are about redistribution to the people who need it most, yet you would give the richest person in the country exactly the same deal on tax. Why?
I wouldn't actually. Mike, hate to tell you this, but you might be paying a bit more tax under a Labor government.
No, indeed, but the first 5,000 is free.
Yeah, the first 5,000 applies universally. But if you're in that top bracket, the bracket that was getting up to $1,000 a week in tax cuts, you're going to have to give some of that back, because the new top tax rate will come in at $150,000 and it will be set at 39 cents in the dollar. So the people that got hundreds and hundreds of extra dollars a week in tax cuts will give a bit of that back, and I think that's fair enough.
I understand that, but the $5,000 threshold, why? It makes no sense.
Well, it's the way in which the Aussies do it, and it's quite straightforward.
Is that how we've done your tax policies because the Australians
No, but it works perfectly well there. We were closing the gap with Australia. They've since, I think, put the tax-free zone up to $18,000, which again is problematic for New Zealand because it's so much more attractive for people to cross the Tasman. But I'm saying this, for you and I, the first 5,000 tax-free won't make a hell of a lot of difference to our income.
But why
let me finish the point. For a heck of a lot of people out there, whether they're superannuitants or whether they're in the workforce, for those on lower and lower middle income, that extra $525 a year or $1,000 a household a year is going to make all the difference between them being able to meet the bills at the end of the week and not being able to do it.
Couldn't agree more.
For the people at the top...
So why not target those people? Why are you giving it to yourself?
Because in effect, on my income, I'll be paying more tax, and that's appropriate because I'm earning over that $150,000 threshold. And what's more, for the people who are most wealthy, they'll be paying a fairer share of tax because they'll be paying for a capital gains tax. So they'll get those. They'll be paying more tax, a fairer share of tax on that basis. But it's just simple. First $5,000 tax-free for those on lower incomes. It'll make a significant difference to their income each week. For those of us on higher incomes, we get the first 5,000 tax-free, but of course we're paying more on the top dollar.
Okay. The EQC lacks logic as well, the charge on EQC. What product or service in the world is charged based on the value of your property outside of rates?
Well, rates is the obvious example.
Yeah, outside of rates. What property or service in the world is charged on the value of your property?
What we're talking about is replenishing the Natural Disaster Fund. Those of us that have more expensive properties will pay a little bit more. It'll be a progressive tax, just like income taxes.
Why?
Oh, because I think that if you're earning a whole lot more, you've got a greater ability to help the wider good in terms of replenishing that fund.
But you are getting nothing more because of it. A service is a service. The cost of removing your rubbish each week is exactly the same, no matter what the value of your property is. The insurance of your property in an earthquake is exactly the same, no matter how
because, Mike, either you believe in a progressive taxation system or you don't. And I know that the ACT Party says that they want to drop the income tax down to, 20, 25 cents in the dollar. I'm interested in a fair New Zealand. I do pretty well on my level of income, as no doubt you do. We're comfortable, we can make ends meet, we can have a good life. I want that for every Kiwi. I want to make sure that when I go through my electorate, I don't see kids in my decile 1 and 2 schools with the elbows out of their jerseys and the soles out of their shoes because mum and dad simply don't have enough to live on.
One of the ironies, of course, of the EQC levy is that the land that's particularly badly damaged won't be worth much, therefore they'll pay less. So in other words, the person with the highest risk is going to be paying the least. That doesn't make sense either.
No, the way in which it's going to go, at the moment you pay your levy, as you know, you pay it on your insurance. But not everybody insures. Why are we saying that the levy will be collected alongside rates? Because that way everybody will have that basic insurance against disaster. We're caught with this dilemma in the Christchurch earthquake, and I've talked to people down there who weren't insured. Now, they are not going to be paid out because they haven't been paying their premium. It'd be wrong for them to do that. But we want to make sure that everybody contributes to that, and when a major disaster happens, everyone's got coverage.
Phil Goff, this is the Election Breakfast special on Newstalk ZB. You can